So, where does your money go every month? That's the question that probably brought you here. And the answer I'm going to propose might sound kind of backwards at first. If you want to know where your money goes, you have to decide where it goes before you spend it. And I know how that sounds. It sounds like I've got the order flipped, like you're supposed to look back at your spending to find the answer to this question. But stick with me because looking back actually can't work. And once you see why, the real way to answer this question gets almost embarrassingly simple. Now, I know what you may have already tried instead of doing it this way, because I've tried it too. Something like the end of month scroll, opening up your bank app, going line by line, trying to reconstruct what happened here. Maybe you even spend some time looking at that little pie chart that your credit card company shows you. But looking back at what you spent can never actually fix anything in your personal finances. And here's why. When you review your spending after the decision has already been made, it's too late to do anything about it. At that point, you're describing an accident after the fact, once it can no longer be changed. I've seen plenty of people double down, but tracking your expenses with more diligence does not and cannot change that. You can get better and better at narrating the story of where your money went. You can get more detailed, you can get more thorough, you can even color code your spending by category if you want. But when the next month comes, you'll be asking yourself the very same question again anyway, because nothing upstream has changed. You didn't address the root cause. The decision making still isn't happening early enough in the process. So the fix can't live at the end of the month. It has to happen before the money leaves, while there's still a choice to be made. Now, maybe you're thinking, there's a whole army of apps out there that'll answer this question for me automatically. So why bother with any of this? That's a fair question, and roughly 38% of American adults check an app just like that every week. And to be fair, many of these apps are actually pretty good at the job they set out to do, which is sorting every transaction into a tidy category before you even ask, and then maybe asking you to approve it. But no matter how good these apps get at sorting your transactions, sorting what already happened still isn't deciding what happens next. They automate the describing but not the deciding. And the deciding was the part that was missing all along. So here's the actual reason you find yourself wondering where all your money went. Most of your money went exactly where it was never told not to go. Say that 5 times fast. That is to say, it followed the path of least resistance. Most people just buy what they want to buy when they want to buy it and ask questions later, if at all. The subscriptions, the spending habits nobody sat down and approved because nobody ever gave your money a purpose before it got spent. So today, we're not doing the thing you've probably already tried, and probably tried more than once, which is going back through your spending and going back through last month's statements. Instead, we're going to flip the question on its head. Instead of asking, where did your money go? We're going to ask, before it's spent, where do you want it to go? That's the shift. And it starts with giving every dollar a job or zero-based budgeting. But no matter what you call it, here's what that actually means. It means answering these 2 questions. How much money do you have right now, and what is that money for? That's the whole move. That's the entire strategy. Right now, before you spend it, decide what each dollar is for. So let's fix this for you once and for all. I do this in an app called YNAB because that's literally what the app is built for. But honestly, you could do it on paper or in a spreadsheet if you're extra nerdy. The software isn't the important part. The deciding is. So go ahead and open up your bank account and look at the money that's in there right now, today. Forget about your next paycheck or any money you're hoping shows up soon. Look only at what's actually sitting in your account. And for every one of those dollars, write down your answer to this question. What is this money for? Maybe $2,000 of it is for the mortgage that's due on Monday. Maybe you need to buy groceries on Saturday. You'll need at least $500 for that. These dollars are for the electric bill. These ones are for that thing you've been putting off saving for. You are not planning a fantasy month. You're not trying to predict how much you're going to spend, and you're definitely not projecting income that hasn't landed in your account yet. You're placing real dollars you already have into real jobs. And if you're like most people, Even people who make a lot of money, you may not have enough actual dollars right now to cover an entire month's worth of expenses. That is not a rare scenario at all. About half of people earning $100,000 to $150,000 a year say that they are living paycheck to paycheck too. And if that's you, it's okay, because at least now you know that. And that's useful information when you get tempted to blow $200 going to dinner with the fam tonight. So that's kind of it. That's the whole system. And it's shockingly, almost disappointingly simple. It's not a checklist. It's not a bunch of categories you have to set up in a certain way. It's just this one habit repeated every time new money shows up in your account. You decide what it's for before it goes anywhere. Do it once, and it feels a little unfamiliar, perhaps a little painful, maybe even difficult. But do it for a few paychecks in a row, and it starts to feel like the obvious way to have always done it. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking to yourself, okay, I get the theory of what you're saying, I just can't get myself to sit down and actually do it. Let's talk about that for a second. A lot of people understand this idea intellectually and still don't build the habit, because doing it by yourself every single paycheck is genuinely harder than it sounds at first. And the reason for this is extremely simple. It's because you're not used to doing it. So if that's you, this is exactly what I do with people. We sit down with your actual YNAB plan. We set this month up together, dollar by dollar, and we walk through deciding which of those dollars you want to use for what. And here's the part that really surprises people. This process is where the question you came here with actually gets answered. Say there's something you forgot you're still paying for. On a bank statement or in one of those tracking apps, it's just one more auto-categorized line in a wall of transactions. It's easy to skim past for the third month running, especially when the amount is small enough not to sting. But when you're used to deciding what your money is for before you spend it, a transaction you never gave a purpose to stops you cold. Wait, what is this even for? That's the moment it surfaces. You discover the mystery spending by deciding up front, not by investigating after the fact. Every dollar you spend either has a purpose that you gave it, or it's staring at you, asking for one. The looking for it was never going to work. The deciding ahead of time is what does. And here's the extra cool part. Once every dollar has a purpose that you chose, spending stops feeling bad or suspicious or guilty or insert negative feeling here. In fact, you can have all the subscriptions, DoorDash, and fun spending that you want. Where does my money go now has a happy answer. Exactly where you told it to go. At my peak, I had 21 separate annual subscriptions. Everything from Amazon Prime and my Costco membership to my favorite little apps like Todoist, Day One, and of course, YNAB. But not one of those was a mysterious charge sitting on my credit card that I didn't know what it was for. In fact, I loved paying for every single one because I knew exactly what I was getting back for each dollar. It was a deliberate choice. Okay, maybe this part of money has felt hard for you up to now. That's totally fine. It's really not something many people are good at. All this means is that there's a skill here you haven't learned yet. And this video just gave you a peek at what it looks like in action. If you want to see why this happens even when you're making plenty of money, watch this video next.